like, so you're, oh, hi, I think we're live.
Okay.
I should have taken pictures before we went live. Oh, so nobody's there. So I'm going to take a couple pictures. So we're going to smile into the camera before everybody comes. Okay, look into your camera, not at me. All right, I'm taking another one. Hi, if there are people joining us, we're taking pictures. Do it again, Kathleen. Look into your camera. All right, I'm doing one more. Hi, everybody, we're taking pictures. All right, now I don't have to mess with that. Hi, everybody. This is Kathleen Wilhoite. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to have you sing yet, Kathleen, because I want to give people a chance to join us. And it always takes people a few minutes because I'm usually late. But we're right on time. Hi, Anne. We'll see who we're saying hello to. Hi, Anne. We're getting love from Anne. So you can't see anything on your screen on the side who's joining, right? It doesn't tell you? Because I'm seeing, hi, Tony. She says, hello, gorgeous women. Hello, Laura. Let's see who else is joining us. So yeah, we're going to wait until we have more of a crowd, and then we'll do some singing, and you'll do some singing. Hi, Jeff. Not late today. No, I'm not late. They're making fun of me. I'm shooting the shit with Vicki. I'm late every day. It's 5-ish. It's 5. It's 5:05. It's 5:00. Are you a punctual person, Kathleen?
It's part of my spiritual practice to be punctual. I teach punctuality. I think it's super important. Every time I am punctual, I feel like I benefit from it. It's considerate. I hate being late. So I'm going to say I try. The problem is that I get distracted and I do get hyper focused, so I can, get on a thing and hours will pass and I blow it. So.
Oh, your puppy. What's your puppy's name?
Carmen.
Carmen. Oh, Carmen looks like Petey dog. Remember Petey?
Yeah. You're on the air, Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
All right. You're going to have to get out. I'm going to have to get her out, I think, because she's going to be yammering.
Do you want to do that before you sing? Because we're going to have you sing soon.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Kathleen's going to go put Carmen in another. Bye, Carmen. We'll miss you.
You got to go. You make too much noise.
How long have you had Carmen?
All right. Just don't hassle me. You have to go to sleep. All right.
You had Carmen.
My silly doggy.
How long have you had Carmen?
I had her since she was what I call a handful full of pity. I had her. So she is now probably 3 years old, I guess 3 or 4 years old.
Aww.
She is the light of my life. And Winston is my other guy. He's over there too. I love my dogs.
Winston, you've had a long time, right?
No, he's actually younger than Carmen. We got Winston. George was our dog we had, our family dog that we loved. And then Ruby was saving dogs from, with Star Paws. Victoria Burrows, she's terrific. She has this organization called Star Paws, I recommend. And Ruby was volunteering at Star Paws. And Victoria was like, we've got these 2 pit bull puppies. We don't know what to do. So we nursed them to health. And one of the dogs got adopted, and then Carmen was adopted, and I was crushed. I was Sophie's tooth, like broken. I cried all the time, and the adoption, it's called not a failed foster. It didn't work. Like the big dog was picking on Carmen. And so Victoria called me and she's like, I don't know what to do. This adoption's not going to go through. Can you take Carmen back? And I was like, yes. Because he didn't want me to get another dog. He's like, I only want 1 dog. And I was like, I will get my own apartment. Get this dog, and then she came and dropped Carmen off, and Carmen was licking my face. I was like, I love you so much. I love you so much. And now she is completely the apple of me and Dave's eye. And poor George passed on. He was an old big doggy.
That's the dog I remember.
Yeah, and so he's gone. And then we felt Carmen needed a friend, so Ruby got another free, discarded dog no one wants. And that's instant. So now we have our 2 dogs and we walk them every day. I feel like it's good for my marriage, to be honest with you. We walk our dogs every morning and we have like the most comfortable conversation. Occasionally we get in big, huge arguments and I'll walk ahead 50 feet. You know, I don't know if you could swear, right?
No, you can swear. We're on Facebook. Yeah, you can swear.
So sometimes that happens, but for the most part, I love walking my dogs in the morning with my husband. It's one of my favorite things.
I love this so much. How long have you and Dave been married?
23 years.
Oh my God. How did you meet? I don't even know if I know this story.
Oh, really? I was playing music. I had and I wrote an end credit song for my friend's movie, and my buddy produced the song. This guy Phil Stevenson, and he's like, my best friend that I grew up with is going to play drums. I said, great. So Dave came in and played drums on the track, and after he played, I said to him, because I was skinny, you know how we do. I'd just gotten divorced or split up from my husband. I wasn't even 30 years old yet. And I was sober, and I was like, hey, and he's like, what? And I was like, you are cute, smart, funny, talented. You're perfect for me. And he's like, we just had sort of but I flirted very hardcore with him. I said, well, you should go out with me. And he's like, I don't go on a date. That's too awkward. I'm not going to do it. And I said, no, I need you to go out with me. And so we went to go see this movie I was in called The Color of Night.
You took him to see a movie you were in? Wow.
Premiere. And so we walked in right as I was plunging to my death, because I played a character who committed suicide. So I'm falling and then just splat, 53rd Street on the east side of Manhattan. And we just had this great night. And at the end of the night, I felt like something's happening. I just felt like he was different. And then he didn't do as I pleased. He appropriately. So it's kind of a classic case of when you finally give up on something, you let it go. So, because I was so nervous around him, I just like laughed too loud. I lost my personality, which for me, if I lose my personality, that's one of my greatest assets. And so, I lost my personality, terrible. And I just finally just said, fuck it. I'm not gonna go out with this guy. It's over. And we had this one date, a wedding. It was my friend Rick's wedding. And the Circle Jerks were playing at the wedding. And so I told all my male friends, I was like, listen, if you see me just sitting there by myself, it's because I'm going to be on a death date. This guy doesn't like me. And all my girlfriends were like, he doesn't like you. If he liked you, he would be with you. And then Dave picked me up from my house. He was like, pulled out my chair. What can I get you? So attentive. He was so sweet. But by that time, my personality had sort of flooded into my. Stop it, Carmen. You have to stop. She doesn't much care for my long stories. I remember. This is the best part of my story. I said in my mind, if he doesn't kiss me by midnight, done. He is done. So we went to go see Hoop Dreams after the wedding. We went back to his apartment. We're sitting there watching The Simpsons. The clock strikes midnight, and I'm like, I'm out. I get up. I'm like, it was great. Thank you. I had a really lovely time. He's like, let me walk you to a car. I'm like, nah, it's cool. I'm all good. And so he lived a little bit on a hillside. And I remember walking down the street, just doing one of these. Feeling, just like, I'm never gonna doing that. And right as I got to my car, I hear, Kathleen. I turn around. It's Dave. He runs down the hill, grabs me, kisses me, and then we've been together ever since.
I like that story.
I was pregnant like within the month with Jimmy.
Wow.
So I had to do the old, like, you're in or you're out. You're in or you're out. he's like, whoa, we got it. I bet, we just started. They're in, you're out. It's like, oh, geez, okay, I guess I'm in. Anyway, we've been together longer than a lot of people we know that got together around a similar time. I don't know. It's a very easy, fun relationship. I love it. I feel very, very fortunate because it's not complicated. And all of my relationships prior to that tended to be on the more complicated side. That he's just not. We like the same TV shows. We like, we both exercise. We like the same food. We have just a ton in common.
And you also play music together, which is fabulous.
Sort of. I mean, both of us are semi-retired, but you pulled me out of my retirement.
Well, speaking of which, so I want to have you. So for the COVID crazies out there, by the way, everybody's saying what a natural beauty you are, and you're a pisser. And Amy Engelhardt says, I used to do her show.
Oh, I love
And
that.
somebody, Will Harris says, I love Kathleen. She was kind enough to be a part of my oral history of Copr Rock, which is my favorite, for the AV club when I didn't know who would trust me to take it seriously, and I'm still grateful for that. So you did something really nice for him. So anyway, so the COVID crazies are here. I was telling Kathleen before we went on the air about us COVID crazies. I don't see Cindy on the air yet. She's one of my favorite COVID crazies, where there's a bunch of us. But Kathleen has a brand new song, and
brand new. I just did it. I just wrote it. So be kind.
So you literally just wrote it today, right?
Today I was practicing the other song you wanted me to do, and then I get ADHD land.
And so Kathleen didn't even know that we are the COVID crazies, and she wrote this song anyway. Can I do this brand new song? It's really funny. And she started doing a little tiny bit for me, and it's not funny at all. It's a very tragic song. Anyway, it is perfect for us. So Kathleen's gonna what's it called, Kathleen?
I haven't named it yet. I know you can ask your listeners; they can name it.
Okay, we are the first people ever on the planet to hear this song. And Kathleen is in my top 5 singer-songwriters of all time.
I don't think it's too high of a recommendation.
No, they don't have to like you. It's how I feel. Fuck them. It's my feeling. I can feel the way I want. So, okay, so we're going to hear the unnamed song, and so you guys can see if you can name it.
Okay, ready? This is fresh off. So
fresh.
Okay. Days are running wild and free along the lawn. You'll never see throwing caution to it. Dug a hole way too deep and staring down the grim reaper. We burned it to the ground with green sand. But there's one bright spot that I look forward to. It's waking up each day with you. If I have to be quarantined in a world of likes I've never seen, I'm glad that I'm quarantined with you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I have to be quarantined, I might lash out, and I won't mean it, 'cause I'm glad I'm quarantined with you. Passing rubber gloves for walls and faces no one loves, overfed and underserved. A way of life, a shutting, sharpening the knife, broken board and praying every word. But there's one bright spot that I look forward to. It's waking up each day with you. If I have to be quarantined in a world of likes I've never seen, I'm glad I'm quarantined with you. bridge. I gotta get a bridge, but I'll put a bridge.
You got some song title possibilities.
Okay.
Somebody said sounds like the COVID crazy land. Okay, so Cindy Beagle says the quarantine blues.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
Somebody else says quarantined with you. Tony says that. I like that. Quarantine with you, I like. Another one said, where is it? Okay, I saw somebody else had another suggestion and now I can't find it.
I like both of those are super strong. I don't know.
Yeah, they're good. I like them both also. I think
big chorus, I always like the big chorus.
Well, okay, one says one bright spot. I like the quarantine blues better, or quarantined with. I think quarantined with you is.
Well, you know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is, and then that's kind of it. That kind of waking up with you post quarantine. That's a lot of words, I think. but and you and Dave are a great couple. I've been around you guys, and you're a great couple. What are your kids up to? How are you? Okay, so tell me how your family is handling COVID. What's going on in your house through this?
Well, we have a situation that's interesting in that, my son is adopted from Ethiopia. He's Black.
Mm-hmm.
We're white.
Mm-hmm.
So,
are you going through all this shit?
Yeah, so it's like a whole other deal around here. We have been to Black Lives Matter marches, and we're also paranoid and terrified of getting COVID. Like, I don't want to get sick.
Right.
I'm old, I don't want it, but we feel that, you can't do this, Carmen.
You cannot, Carmen.
She's ruining. I'll send you out if you start moaning. Sit down. Lie down. Anyway, so that's been a huge factor for us, and it's been really. I'm gonna have to let her out. I'm sorry. Come on.
Don't worry. Go.
Come on.
By the way, so I'm going to say hi to everybody. This song was fabulous, right? I love that song. By the way, Kathleen's going to end the show with my favorite song of hers, which I don't want to rush the interview, but I'm so excited that she's going to do it.
I've been practicing. My fingers are they're going to be sore.
Yeah, but what I love about you, Kathleen, is you have such, you're so balls to the wall. First of all, it just comes out of you because it's really, I think it's a gift from a higher power. It just comes out of you because you wrote this today. I mean, this just fell out of you. And it's not that you don't have years of experience and practice, but when you wrote One Foot Out the Door, I saw you posted, it was the rawest video I have ever seen. You just put that phone on and you just sang your ass off. No. And it's so emotional. And I was sobbing. You were, it was, and you've done other versions of it since that are fabulous. And you sang it in the living room at Women Who Write. But that first day, that first recording you did of it was just so raw and real. You're phenomenal. I just love what you do. Anyway,
they ebb and flow. They ebb and flow. That was definitely an ebb. But, we were just not getting along. And it was just one of those things where you're like, nobody can put a finger on, like, what's the problem? If we were to go to counseling, we would have been just like, it just wasn't good. And then I don't know what happens in life. I guess sometimes if you muscle through those periods, I believe relationships have lifespans, and my relationship with Dave obviously has a pretty healthy lifespan. So I feel like now we've moved into this, I don't know, it's like a graceful period of, like a new sort of love. It's been really lovely. But when I wrote that song, we were definitely at a yucky.
So every relationship goes through that stuff. So it wasn't a conscious effort to get out of it. It was just, you just kind of got out of it.
Well, I feel like with kids, it gets so complicated. I mean, I don't know what happened for you with your divorce, but a lot of times I think when people have kids together, you stay in through periods that normally without kids, you'd have been like, fuck this. I'm done. But when you have kids, it's like, and finances, and there's so much to think about. I think that it makes you sometimes really weather those difficult periods. And not, if your lifespan, your relationship's lifespan is done, as you got to move on. And
we tried to resurrect it for a year. We worked at it for years. We were together for 20 years, so we didn't give up quickly. But
when did you know, like, to throw in the towel?
Actually, I went to a program for people, places, and things, and I went to fix it. And what it did was it gave me the courage to leave it, to realize it was time to go. So I was in that program for a few years, and then I realized, I'm supposed to go now. I'm not supposed to keep working at this.
Was there an aha moment, or was it just sort of working through your spiritual practice that made you get really super honest with your feelings?
There were issues with the other program that were coming up, and so the sobriety thing and going in and out and all that kind of stuff started getting I was a bit self-righteous about my my sobriety and stuff and my program, and I was probably full of shit a lot, but so I think we had our lives. I think we hit our expiration date, I think.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I see that in a lot of people's relationships. It's just like me and Dave, we're not done yet, at that point,
And I see the kindness with you and Dave, and how much you really enjoy each other. And I think that's what kind of happens with relationships when they hit their expiration date, is when the kindness stops, when the friendship kind of gets,
I had a thing with my ex-husband where at the end of our relationship, he's like, "Why do you sigh all the time?" I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah, you do. You sigh." And I was like, I don't. He's like, "You sigh all the time," but I do. I sighed all the time because I was so done. Just like, wow.
How long were you guys with your first husband?
Not long, but he was very important to me. And, I got to say that I went to breakfast with him in maybe December.
Oh, wow.
January, we're still friends. And I adore this dude. He's magnificent, but he is not the guy for me. He's in fact, I had a friend who was helping me get through that divorce because I was crushed and heartbroken by it, even though I cheated and I was a terrible drunkard. We were a horrible Sid and Nancy pair, like disaster. Talk about, that was beating a dead horse at the end of that lifespan. It was over. But I was heartbroken, and I feel like it had to do with letting go of who I thought I was, the total die young, stay pretty,
Were you already having success when you were in that relationship?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't swing a cat without getting an acting gig, record deals. I had a killer manager who got me into plays and feature films. And I mean, it was like I worked more with that guy, this manager, than I ever had. And I treated this manager like shit. I was so mean and awful. And I just didn't have any discipline at all, outside of the fact that I wrote songs every day. And when I had an acting job, I refused to suck. So I would throw everything into my, but in retrospect, I had like Christmas tree lights on my head. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Sort of like trying to make sure nobody saw, like the Wizard of Oz, the little man in the booth. I just didn't want anyone to see the terrified, narcissistic freak, in the corner. And I figured if I sang enough or acted enough, or, I had calico hair and wore feather boas, and, if I did all of that, then maybe no one would notice how unlovable and despicable I felt like I was. the truth, obviously, is that once I changed it around, and as you said, you can no longer tolerate the lie. You can't tolerate the lie. So the lie I told myself is like, yeah, I met him and we got married 2 weeks later. Woohoo! And it's great with, it's true love. Well, it was a lie. We were not suited. We were not suited for each other. He's hilarious, smart. I have excellent taste, even as a drunkard. Even as a drunkard, I used to always wake up the next day like, wow, look at that bag. Really? It's cute. I felt like I got my way with. How did I do that? A couple of duds, but for the most part, I have pretty good taste.
So Kathleen, I don't even know if you know this. You were like one of my very first friends in LA when we moved here. I didn't know anybody. Gabe was working with Dave at Kilbourne. They were at Kilbourne, which is an embarrassment all by itself. But Craig Kilbourne was kind of a weird guy.
He's weird, right? He wasn't very nice to people.
He was a weird guy. I thought he was great when he was the sportscaster on
people did.
He was really good then, but when he got his own show, he was kind of full of himself. But anyway, when we moved out here and you guys had us over, and you were just great. You turned me on to a hairdresser. We both were going to Cindy, and you told me where to go, and you told me what to do, and you really welcomed us, and you had us to a barbecue, and I met Maggie Wheeler and a bunch of other people through you, which was great. And
well, you're not very hard to love.
Aww.
I mean, you're super smart, super talented, super funny. I mean, it was like, no offense, but I wasn't thrilled about Dave telling me I needed to go hang out with this chick from a guy he works with. It's like, I got plenty of fucking friends. I don't need to. And he's like, please just go. And then you had me meet you you were like at the Oakwood Apartments or something.
Right.
And I met you at the pool, and I was like, I took one look at you. I was like, just my cup of tea. I'm going to have a lovely afternoon. But, you really are so, so, so lovable. And just, we have a lot in common, I think, you and me.
Well, I think that happened the first day. We realized we were both working on a book, like at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? And we were both struggling with that. It took me 13 years. I don't know. Did you ever publish?
No, I still am working on my thing. I have a very hard time pushing myself away from the computer. Not with my songwriting, because that I should probably have not played it for everybody before I did my rewrite.
Oh no. That was perfection.
No, but with my prose writing, I'm very picky. And now I write plays, and I just the tweaking. It's all, it's the whole, I mean, it's embarrassing to say, but, the whole Michelangelo, shaving off the stuff you got to get rid of. That stuff is very hard for me to finally say. Okay.
Kathleen, the only reason why my book got published, and it was 13 years later of me tweaking.
I know.
Because Carl Reiner's guy offered to publish it, and that's the only reason why I let it go. I said, okay, now I gotta let this go. And I thought I was going to end up going with a Sharpie into every bookstore and like changing words like after it was published. And the only, what was really interesting that happened is that I kept tweaking it like you do. But when I finally had a deadline, I went to Palm Springs for a retreat, and I finished it. And I read it through, and I said, you know what? I'm done. And I think if you really gave yourself a hard deadline, you could do it. Let it go.
You know what I did? I ended up sending it to my acting agent lit person in New York, and he gave me notes on it, and I was delighted by these notes because they were really smart and actually improved my book tremendously. I did the rewrite. I sent it back, but I didn't FedEx it. I sent it in regular mail, and then I never called. And then he never called me back. I don't even know if he got my rewrite. I never called. I got my feelings hurt. I did nothing. And then I started writing another novel and then became obsessed with writing that. So, you know me, an astute but businesswoman. You know, I did not do the old J.K. Rowling's, like, you know, I sent it out to 100 people and no way. Which, by the way, J.K. Rowling's, what the fuck is she doing? What is happening? Leave people alone, J.K. Let them love whoever they want. What are you doing? Write another book about warlocks. Holy crap. Leave people alone. Jesus, right?
So, all right, wait. So getting back to that, someone had asked for first read on my book, this literary agent in New York, like big time. And before, when I'd only written like 5 pages, because we were parents together in New York at a school, and she saw the way I was writing to raise money and shit. Anyway, I sent her my first draft, and she gave me notes, and it broke my fucking heart. And because she broke my fucking, I thought I had written the #1 bestseller, and she just tore me a new one. And I was like, oh my God. If you want to publish this as a memoir, we could do it tomorrow, but you got to name names, and I wasn't willing. And anyway, she told me to get an editor or to take a class, and I wanted to go like this.
Oh.
And, I got an editor, and it was the best thing that ever happened. And I rewrote that book, and I sent her the rewrite, and she never wrote me back. And I got my feelings hurt. And then 6 years later, Carl Reiner published my fucking book, and it was a #1 Amazon bestseller, motherfucker. So, you know, it takes, but she actually started me on that path. If she would have said it was great, I would have had a shit book. It only got better because she told me it was shit.
Well, I mean, who knows what the path is? I know that the not sending it out thing is not going to work for me. Nobody's going to knock on my door, grab me by the lapels and say, I've got to publish your manuscript. Nobody's going to do that. So yeah. I feel like, and this is what I tell my students, you know, I teach acting class, but I feel like, I even told them, recently William Morris dissolved their voiceover agency. So I don't have a voiceover agent. And
Morris isn't even, it's Morris, it's Endeavor, isn't it?
Yeah, WME, William Morris Endeavor. They dissolved their voiceover department, so they only have like their celebrity voiceover people, and I think the acting agents are going to negotiate those deals. I don't know. Maybe they just dropped me and they told me. I don't know. But they dissolved the voiceover agency, and then my agent, who happens to be my friend, I wrote him, I was like, a text. I was like, did I just get dropped? ? You know, and I said something like, you know, I know, you know, the Billy Preston song, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I didn't know I was dropped. And then he was like, we all got dropped. You know, they completely liquidated our department. He was like really tormented not having a gig, you know, in the COVID thing. Anyway, he ended up getting another job because Dave sent me the Deadline Hollywood announcement that he got on it, and which I'm so happy for. The guy, he's a great dude. As his friend, I'm super happy for him. Of course, I didn't get that like, I've got to sign you, you know, text. You got to come over on board with us over here at such and such agency. I didn't get that, but I was telling my acting students, I was like, so, because one of my students said that he was gonna. He had a meeting with the manager, and he wondered if he should call the manager back to find out how the meeting went or if they should proceed. And I was like, I certainly think it's worth calling, you know, because you don't know if the manager, something came up in the manager's life. Maybe their kid got COVID. Who knows? Like, shit happens.
Right.
It's worth the call.
Right.
And like for me, my voiceover agency got liquidated. My agent got a new job, and so my question is, should I contact him and just say congratulations on the new job? And my whole class students, right, they're like, you have to. You have to. So I did. I was like, super proud of you, congratulations on the new job. Said. So I'm still waiting to hear, we must sign you. You're the most spectacular voiceover.
Well, but right now, Kathleen, nobody's doing anything. So
that's true. But, you know, the point is, I do genuinely, more than anything, frankly, more than me getting him as my voiceover agent, I am really genuinely happy that he has another gig because he has a family. He's got a kid in college. He's got a kid in high school. Like, that's nobody our age needs to be out of a job right now.
Yeah, it's a scary time. So, okay, so let's talk about that. What's happening in your house? So is Dave able to do his gig during COVID?
Yes, he works, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. He has weekends off, just like he did when he works at this company called Wondros, really great company, a marketing philanthropic kind of company. It's a really cool company. And he loves his job. He loves his job. He loves who he works with. He works really hard. And, I think a lot of companies, like marketing companies, I would imagine, have discovered that they can get a lot of work done over Zoom.
So did Dave work in an office before COVID and then start working at home?
Yeah. And now he's at home. And he is very disciplined he works from, I don't mess with him. He's downstairs. I have the upstairs because I was going to play music and stuff. But
right.
He's in what I call my own little corner. I have a little corner downstairs. But yeah, he works really hard. Now, I don't think our feng shui is good because my bed is right there. So he's like right beside the bed. And I hear that you're not supposed to work in your bedroom or whatever. Apparently that's
not supposed to be good for your sex life. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have great feng shui, but it's not good for your sex life? Is that
no, you're not supposed to have a TV in there. You're not supposed to work in there.
My God, we have a giant TV.
All you're supposed to do in there is the old in, out, and sleep.
Really?
That's all you got. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, then, you know what I'm really into? Have you seen Trapped, this Finnish show?
No.
I think it's on Amazon Prime. No, it's Icelandic. I'd say, Dave, we got to go to Iceland tonight. And so we would go watch this show. I love my TV in my room. Terrible. I'm going to have bad feng shui. I don't think you should work in our room, though. But I will. I just love my television.
Well, but if you're watching TV, does that get in the way of intimacy?
I'm not, the older I get, not, sorry, but
you got to get the TV. You got to get the TV out of there. I'm telling you.
I know. I'm not. I look at sex like vacationing. I hate planning vacations. I will, if he asks me, where do you want to go for vacation? I'll be like, nowhere, here. I just like to write my stories and swim in my pool and walk my dogs. And then when he plans a vacation and we go on these vacations, I have the best time. I'm so happy we did it. That's how I view sex. It's like, if you ask me, if you want to, let's, snuggle. I'm like, or we could go to Iceland, just saying. Iceland. And then if we throw caution to the wind and we enjoy an evening of love, I'm always happy we partook. So that's how I feel sex.
I get it. So Dave's working downstairs. How did playwriting start for you?
At 50 years old, could not get arrested. I felt like my acting career was over. Not only did I feel like I couldn't get an acting job, but when I got auditions and opportunities, I was like, I was like, ugh. All the parts seemed like garbage for me. I felt like nothing was inspiring. I got totally just creatively in a rut. So Dave's like, you got to get a job. You got to make some money, honey. I'm sorry, So I was like, well, what can I do? He's like, I think you should teach acting. I was like, that's what Glue Factory actresses do. I'm not doing it. And, anyway, so I started asking around at auditions, at parties, to my character actor friends that I respected. And one night I saw my friend Craig Anton, great character actor.
God, I've known Craig for years. Yeah.
Craig, the greatest guy ever. I saw Craig at my friend's party, and I always thought he hated me. He didn't hate me. He just didn't pay any attention to me. Anyway, I saw him and I just thought, oh, fuck it. And I said, Craig, I know you and I know you know me. We've been in the same, our kids went to school together. His kid was in another grade. I've seen you around. You're a great character actor. I appreciate your talent. What do you do to make money when you're not acting? What do you do? He's like, I teach. And I was like, what? Teaching? My husband wants me to teach. What? How did you get into that? He's like, I went to college. I got my master's degree. I said, I can't get my master's degree. I dropped out on a cocaine party, when I was a freshman in college. And he's like, no, you can go based on, as a baccalaureate, some sort of thing based on, they take people who
Based
are
on life experience,
professionals or whatever, based on your resume. But you have to audition. I was like, I have to audition to get into college. Oh my God. If I get rejected from this, it's like, I don't even know who I don't know what I am. So I just tried my hardest. I just remember Worker Among Workers. Every time I got angry about that I was auditioning to get into a college program to spend my money to go back to acting school, I was like, oh, this is hideous. And then I just studied my monologues more. I had my old acting teacher that I love, this guy, Rick Mokler, helped me with my classical piece and my, anyway, I auditioned and tried my hardest, threw my hat in the ring, dropped the mic, everything. And I got in the program and I went to Cal State Long Beach for 2 years. I graduated with cold cords around my neck. Turns out, if you're sober, you attend school, you do all your homework, you get good grades. Who knew? Last time I was at school, I was like, woohoo! Like. So as a grown-up, I got good grades. They at this program at Cal State Long Beach, you hit the ground running and you start teaching the minute you walk on that campus. You have 50 kids sitting in front of you, and you're like, "In action, go." So and with teaching, it really is a thing about experience. The more I teach, the better I get at teaching. I really feel that way. And now I'm really into my own thing. I like to teach my thing. I like to do it my way, teach my thing. I don't want people to tell me what to teach, how to teach it. I'm not interested. And so I have my own pride. And
do you have a method? Is there the Kathleen Wilhoite method? Is there a method?
Yeah, kind of, because I feel like it's more in line with the inner game of tennis. I feel like if you were painting a painting, if you're an artist and you're painting, would you have your acting teacher, your painting teacher stand over your shoulder and be like, Emma, don't put the black line over by the table. Emma, don't. Why are you going to do that? Why would you make the face purple? What? Why? Tell me. And that's how acting classes have been taught for centuries, or whatever, not centuries, but you know what I'm saying. And I don't think that is the way you get people to feel free, loose. To me, acting's about being in the dream. It's about being in your character and in the imaginary circumstances and bringing your truth to those imaginary circumstances. And so for me, that is what I want to teach. And I think that has to do with repetition, looking at it, because at a certain point, especially in my class, my students, I teach a Zoom class right now. You can sign up at Wilhoite School of Drama on Facebook if you want to.
Wait. So you're not teaching through the university? People can take it?
I am, but I'm carrying on my own class, especially in climate, because there's an old white lady. This needs to change, to be honest with you. And I'm teaching next year at Cal State Long Beach. I'm teaching a class there, and I love teaching at Cal Arts. I loved it, but I don't know. I'd be a fool to think that I'm a locked-in adjunct professor at either place because of the way the institution has been rocked by the current political climate with respect to diversity, white fragility. It's bad. I mean, I teach a class of 50 students at Cal State Long Beach. My classes are 50 students deep.
Wow.
And we have like 4 or 5 white kids, and the entire faculty over at Cal State Long Beach is white. So, as a mother of a Black child, I kind of sit on 2 different fences. I'd be a fool to think that people are going to be like ushering me into the halls of great academic institutions. I wish they would, but on the other hand, I understand if they don't. I completely understand if they don't. I love teaching at these two schools, but I know my heart.
You teach at Cal Arts up here?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's not a high school. Cal Arts is a California Institute of the Arts. It's a art school out here in Santa Clarita. And they have the most talented kids.
Wow.
My class, I taught acting for the camera up there. My class, and they were so nervous to get in front of the camera, but every time a kid got in front of that camera, I was like, holy shit, they know how to prepare kids for. These kids have mastery of their craft. They were so great. So I even switched up my entire curriculum once I saw. First of all, I had this guy named Carole McLaughlin. He's a DP actor type, but he was like DP, and he lit the scene so beautifully. I changed my curriculum because I thought, you know what? I'm not going to stand here while that guy sits on his ass, me blabbing about acting for the camera, when I need to get every student in front of this camera. This camera needs to be rolling all day, every time I come up here, because this opportunity is ridiculous. So I switched up my curriculum, and then freaking COVID happened. So I taught them on Zoom, which was, they were.
How does that work when you're teaching a film class, acting for film?
Well, a lot of them, the school prepared them with reels. So I had like Harold Perrineau come in and talk to the students, because my friends are all out of work.
Right.
So I had Jennifer Lynch, my friend Jen Lynch. She directed a ton of Walking Dead. She's cast me in a ton of stuff. She's a director, super inspiring, beautiful soul. I had Alexandra Billings, who was my professor at Cal State Long Beach, who's a professor out at USC, who's on Broadway. She's in Transparent. So I tried to help because also kids are different. They are who they are in their souls, and so I tried to honor that. But most I know a lot of 50-year-old white ladies is really like Maggie Wheeler-Rod. I had Helen Slater on. Helen Hunt came on.
Fantastic.
But so I had these people come on, and the students would ask because like I said, the Cal Arts students, I don't know what's happening in their undergraduate and their graduate program prior to because I only had BFA 4s and MFA 3s, so they're all in their final semester in my acting for the camera class. My opinion is that acting for the camera class should be a year class, not a semester class. It should be a requirement, not an elective, which is what all schools do. They don't even have it at Long Beach, and I feel like if you were to ask those students how they envisioned their career, I'm going to say to a man, there's going to be the oddball, person who loves clown or experimental theater. You're going to get those kids, but most of them are like, I want to be in movies and television and stage, and to minimize to minimize what it takes to be comfortable in front of a camera, to devalue having great scenes in the tank so they don't have to do student films for their reels, which now COVID, your reel is your calling card.
Right.
And I think so foolhardy, and I tried to explain that to both schools that I work for, Long Beach and Cal Arts. And I feel like the people that were my superiors heard me, but I felt like both of them were sort of like, it's a machinery. I don't know. None of them, nobody was handing me a contract for the year. So, and then I talked to my USC, and they were like, he's like, it's too much. We don't have it in our budget, which is a shame. I think it's foolish. Whether it's me or Harold Perrineau, who cares? I think that you should provide for students acting for the camera for 1 year, their final year. They can get a good scene in the reel that they're proud of. And
I'm so excited that you're saying this, because I was telling you, Samantha went to NYU to Tisch, to be a stage actress, to be on Broadway. And she was in Atlantic Theater for 2 years. And then the last year she transferred to Stone Street, which is film and TV. She never wanted to take film class. She never wanted to do that. And she got smart. And the last year she did the whole year of film and TV. And she's got a couple of pieces that she directed and performed that are brilliant, that she's got a reel now. Yeah.
Right. And that is what you should do. And a lot of times when they don't have somebody with their eye on their foot in the door of the film business, like a lot of acting teachers that have been stuck in academia for years and years and years, who would, they look down at people in the film business as legitimate. There's a little bit of a snobbery. You can really sense it because of where they value, what they value in the curriculum. Like, you know, there's this voice technique, and I won't go into the specifics, but it is the biggest crock of shit that I've ever seen. And the fact that they make these students do this, like, I mean, it's embarrassing how stupid this technique is. And it doesn't, it's like they make these kids do this for hours.
Wow.
And it's like, that's more valued than hit your mark, find your key light, relax, you know, bring your character forth, even though you have to start in the middle of the scene. I mean, these are all tricks of the trade that just take practice. But instead they value that, when voice, by the way, if you see any shows at the National Theater, Broadway, they're mic'd. So even if you are like, but you've got to project to the proscenium, you know, by the way, most people speak fine.
Yeah.
So why is that freaking, that should be the elective. I mean, that is like, if you have a speech problem, then by all means enjoy your voice class. But if you speak normally and you have a healthy voice and you're fucking mic'd, it's ludicrous to me. But I am in the Emperor's New Clothes naming the emperor, and I would guarantee academia, this is why I don't think that they're going to be like, hey, Kathleen, calm down. But somebody's got to say it. It's ridiculous.
All right, so tell us for a moment about how people would find you to take your acting class.
Oh, I'm on Facebook, Wilhoite School of Drama. Just go to Wilhoite School of Drama. You'll see and sign up. Or you can just email me at wilhoitedrama@gmail.com.
And so now, are most of your students working actors? Are they starting out? Do you have run the gamut of both?
Run the gamut. I don't have anybody in my class because I feel like it's not rocket science, man. It's not rocket science. It's like you need to practice and find joy and have fun and work out the kinks, you know, not be self-conscious, you know, and I have different sort of techniques of pushing that aside. But for the most part, it's about repetition and opportunity and playing different characters. Every time you play a character, you grow as a person and as a performer, because you incorporate the qualities of each character in your little heart and soul, in your instrument, you know.
So let's talk about how that happened for you, because, you know, and I also don't know if you know this, but you were going to be my very, very first guest at Women Who Write from my very first salon in 2008. You were scheduled, and then you got a gig, and you couldn't do it. And you ended up doing it, and it was fine, because you ended up doing it a few months later, but you were going to be my very first celebrity.
Oh.
And you've done it a number of times since, which has been fantastic.
You did, and you inspired a lot of people, and so you should feel very good about the way you're of service. It's beautiful.
Thanks. So okay, so how did this? When did you realize that that's what you wanted to do, and how did that? Were you starring in school plays when you were a little kid? How did it start for you?
Oh, my parents said I came out of the chute. My first words were, "Watch me." Sometimes you have kids like me, you know, that want to do shows. It's in you. It's in you. That's why with parents who are like, "Oh my God, my kid wants to be an actor," it's like, that's freaking awesome. It is great. Listen, I've not been invited to the Academy Awards for 30 years straight. And I know a lot of people there too. And I have a home and a car and a 401k, and I have a beautiful life. You don't have to be a movie star to have a life as an actor. You can be a blue-collar actress and show up for pilot season, and sometimes you hit and sometimes you don't. So I was acting, I was in all the plays. I also, when I was 5 years old, I joined my church choir, and I can sing. So I got solos in my church choir. And then I was just sort of a ham bone, class clown kind of type. And then I switched schools in the 5th grade, and the whole social system was set up like they cared about their plays. So now I'm getting the leads in the plays, and I started gaining a lot of confidence in myself through doing plays. And then got into junior high school. Theater was very big back in the 70s and the 80s in Santa Barbara. And so we did Santa Barbara Youth Theater every summer, and then a big drama in the fall and a big spring musical. We did the winter pageant. I was in the Santa Barbara High School a cappella choir, which was like this award-winning choir. So I learned the value of excellence very young, and discipline, and like practicing. Mm-hmm. I had a singing group called the Boogie Woogie Bugle Girls. I was in the Santa Barbara Songwriters Guild. I was 15 when I started that. I couldn't drive when I started the Songwriters Guild. So I've just been like following.
When did you start writing music?
My father wrote country songs on the ukulele, and I would get in trouble a lot because I was a big mouth and a rascal. And my mother would send me to my room, and we moved to a house, and the only place the piano fit was in my bedroom, which was sort of a makeshift living room with a door. Mm-hmm. So I had a piano in there. So she'd send me to my room when I get in trouble, and I'd just play the piano. Wow. Play. And then she would make me practice for my piano lessons, and I didn't want to read music. I just would make up songs that sounded like I was playing the music for my piano lessons. And then finally my mom sent me to this girl, Robin, and I can't remember her last name, but she was a big Joni Mitchell fan. And she only had me play my songs in my piano lessons. So she songs, and so I did it. So all through junior high and high school, I was writing songs.
And so where did success come first for you, from music or from acting?
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I remember when I was a senior in high school, I was either going to go to the Dick Grove School of Music. I thought about CalArts, and then I had 2 boyfriends that went to USC in the theater program. Mm-hmm. And my best friend at the time, Kay Best, she got in the USC. She wanted to try out for the theater program. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm just going to do what they did. So I tried out to get into the BFA program at USC, and the 2 of us went to USC. So, and then when I was at USC 6 weeks in, this manager had seen my play that I did when I was a senior in high school. And he said, they need a comedian to play 16. You should go in on this audition. I went in on the audition on a Friday. On Monday, I was rolling it to the set. So I got that.
What was that first gig?
Private School for Girls. It was a quality picture. It was a fabulous movie. The day, it was a terrible.
What was your first big gig?
Private school.
Okay.
Private school, and then I went back to college, finished my 2nd semester, did not get asked back to go be a sophomore in college, which I was very hurt by. But they told me at my final interview that you need to go work, because I missed so much school from auditions and stuff like that. So then I ran out of money. I had to get a normal job. And then I started working at a market research place. And within 2 weeks, I got another movie of the week. And then I just started acting,
Okay, so let's talk about some of the people that, I remember the first time I became very aware of you was Chloe in ER, which that was the most heartbreaking character. Well, that's not true. Copr Rock was first.
Let me let my dog out.
Go let your dog out.
No.
I'm lying, because Copr Rock, of course, was first. So I'm totally lying. I'm lying. We're going to read some questions in a bit, but so all right. So Copr Rock. Copr Rock I can't believe Copr Rock wasn't like the biggest hit of all time. I think you were ahead of your time. It was such a brilliant show. Did you love doing it as much as we loved watching it?
I was a mess doing that show.
How so?
Well, I'd met a guy in Nashville. I had a record deal, and first I crashed my car.
Oh.
And then I lost my apartment, and then I had to go to jail because of drunk driving. And then I thought, fuck California, and I moved to Texas. Still like flying back for auditions every now and then, but I still had that killer manager, right? So he kept getting me jobs, but I kept trying to.
How are you managing that while going to jail and shit?
Well, I'm telling you, as an actor, that's why I think so many people it's tricky, because the business doesn't give a shit what you're doing to yourself. You need to show up and hit your mark and know your lines.
Wow.
And so nobody cares, just as long as you hit your mark and know your lines. I mean, we've seen it over and over and over again, It's kind of weird, Same with the music business. You think about like poor little Karen Carpenter, why didn't she just not go on tour? Well, they make you go on tour. She had a demand. People wanted to see her. She probably should have not gone on the last few tours, but who knew, Anyway, I was just on a very self-destructive run. And so Copr Rock, I had just married a guy I knew for 2 weeks, my first husband, who was really funny, but we were both just a mess. So I was a disaster, but I did have a ball doing that show. And
did you have work ethic when you were a disaster?
What?
When you were a disaster, when you were a drunk, did you have a work ethic still when you? No.
Totally. I wouldn't show up drunk. I knew how precious getting an actual acting job was.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, but then when I punched out, I would self-destruct, right? So I don't know. I did show up a lot for my career was never so good as when I was drinking and drugging.
Wow.
So
wow.
The reason I quit drinking was because I got fired off a movie for drinking. So I was like, I guess ultimately I did fuck it up through drinking.
Okay, but normally you weren't drinking on set, like on Copr Rock, or you weren't
My
drinking?
husband was banging dope in my trailer.
Wow.
So I was like, oh my God, big drama girl. That was pretty funny. So a lot was going on, but with the same token, I played a junkie. I played a character, just a hardcore drug addict.
Yes.
Copr Rock. So when I sat on the bench in the middle of, by the train tracks in the bad area of town or whatever, I, when I sang that song, I brought a lot to the table, I think, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to carry on like that for much longer.
How much longer did you, when did you get sober, Kathleen? And tell us about what got you sober.
27 years old when I got sober. I'm 50
now.
27.
And what was the move? What happened? What happened?
I got fired off of a movie. I was doing a movie in New Jersey, and my husband had overdosed. He overdosed. He didn't die, but he overdosed, went to the hospital, very dramatic, traumatic. When he came back home, a limousine pulled up. I got in the limousine to take me to the airport, to take me up to this acting gig. And I just couldn't stop drinking. And I just drank. Got to the airport, drank. Got to the New Jersey, they had the sign, Wilhoite, me actress, me no lines, me hit my marks, me actor, who knew? I was in a complete blackout, whatever, and I'd go to the hotel and just completely, blow it, I guess, totally blow it. Got fired the next day. They sent me home. And then I remember sitting in my house, right? I lived about 200 yards away from the log cabin in West Hollywood. And I sat in my house and I was like, wow, This sucks. I think I need to get sober. So I called central office, and then I started, and I got sober. It changed my life. I mean, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it. And by the way, I wouldn't trade some of my hilarious drinking and drugging stories. I feel like I burned it to the ground in a beautiful way, and hopefully I didn't hurt that many people on the way down, you know. I have
sober very young.
Yeah, I was 27 when I got sober.
Wow.
Yeah. And I really happy that my kids have never seen me drunk.
And so how did your career change after you got sober?
Well, I thought I wasn't going to be able to write a song again, and that wasn't true. I wrote my first album was mostly songs that I'd written sober. And then I was terrified to get an acting job and thought for sure I was going to get fired again. And I remember my first acting job was with a guy named Bruce Davidson, you know,
Bruce Davidson. Yeah.
He's terrific. Anyway, I was so scared to get fired. And my friend at the time, she's like, but you're not drinking now, so you probably won't get fired. I was like, yeah, I know they're gonna fire me. I know they're gonna fire me. And I didn't get fired. I ended up getting fired sober, but it didn't feel the same as when you get fired for being a total idiot. When you get fired when you're sober, it's because you weren't right for the project and the people didn't like you, you know, like didn't want you around. So that feels different than getting fired because you can't stop drinking, you know.
Okay, so let's talk about some of like the highlights. So that the Copr Rock thing was dramatic because your husband was shooting dope and you were drunk, and so not the best memory. How was working with Kevin Spacey? What was he like? Pay it forward. What was he like?
Kevin Spacey, that's great.
Well, I have so much curiosity about him.
No, Helen Hunt is my friend.
Yes.
My real friend. She's like a real true blue. She's very loyal to me. She's been very good to me consistently throughout my life, and I love her. So I think I had just had a baby, so I was really fat, and I think that I really needed an acting job, and Mimi Leader is the director of Pay It Forward, and so she called me in to audition. And then after I did my audition, I felt very good about my audition. I called Helen and I said, I just auditioned for your movie. I want you to put in a good word for me. Anyway, she's like, I didn't even know you auditioned. And I called to put in a good word for you, and they already cast you. So I was so happy. You know, plus I didn't have to use my calling Helen Hunt chip, you know.
Yeah.
So then I had to go for a rehearsal over at Raleigh Studios with Helen. So now, you know, because she's a real friend, I'm not like nervous in the same way I would be with two strangers.
Right.
And I've worked with Mimi Leader. So he was like very nice because I was friends with Helen, treated me like gold.
Nice.
The thing that was interesting about Kevin and Helen is that I would say, you know, there's fine artists and impressionistic painters or whatever. My acting technique is very much an impressionistic, like I just feel the character and then just do the thing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm very like, ready, set, go, you know, and I just do it. And I think of characters, but I'm not very, I don't like to think too much. I like to not think when I'm acting. Mm-hmm. Helen and Kevin, both Academy Award winning actors, both went through line by line with Mimi. They were so smart. And the things that they had suggested and the way they broke the scene down, I was sort of sitting there. I was like, oh. You can't bust balls with that because they have Academy Awards. I have nothing, you know, like I can't say like, what the fuck, relax, just do it, you know, which is what I wanted to say, but they were so passionate about their work and so gifted at breaking it down that I learned a lot from them, and I've learned so much from Helen. In fact, she's such a delight to have as a guest in an acting class, because there's no secret to why she's had the success that she's had. She worked so hard. She is so passionate about her work as an actress. She just adores it,
It shows. I've seen her at your gigs, come to support you. And I also saw her and Paul do a talk at SAG when the new Mad About You came out, which I think is brilliant. I don't have whatever it's on, Spectrum or something. I don't get it, but I got to see 2 episodes that day with them, and they talked about it, and I thought it was as brilliant as ever. Have you seen it?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. She's fantastic.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She is fantastic. We used to make jokes when we were hanging out. She used to live by me. We'd hang out and she'd say, I forget how the conversation came by. And she goes, what'd be an ideal trip for me? And I said, what? She said, if I could go to Hawaii, invite all my friends, and we'd sit around on the beach and just read Shakespeare. And I was like, boring. Now I would like it because I went back to college. I have a whole new appreciation for Shakespeare, like whole thing. But at 20, whatever it was when we were hanging out, 24, I'm like, hell no. No, thank you.
Okay.
So passionate,
How about ER? What was that scene? Was George Clooney on when you were on that whole club?
George was my buddy for, because he was just a normal, we call it the freshman dorms, south of Sunset Boulevard, north of like Wilshire Boulevard, let's say Highland and La Cienega. That whole section we used to call the freshman dorms, filled with actors. George lived there. I lived there. Maggie lived there. Everyone I know lived in that square area. Wow. We all went to parties together. My friend Carrie, like everybody. And so George was around. George and Hesloff, and just we would just all hang out. John Grice, like all kinds of people. Anyway, so I knew George, and he was a pal of mine. One summer we hung out all the time. Anyway. So when I got ER, my issue was Anthony Edwards, right? The very first love of my whole life.
What?
Yeah, in my whole life. My first love is Tony Edwards.
Wow.
And I was 16 when he was my boyfriend. He was my first boyfriend.
Wow.
And I just loved Tony Edwards for years. He was the fish that got away.
Wow.
I loved him, but he was troublesome to me because I don't think he had the same affection for me. Which is what it is. Anyway, so I remember when we had broken up in high school, he had taken a girl to a show that I was in at the Libero Theater. I was singing in the pit with the orchestra. This was Access Theater, which is a theater for people with disabilities.
Okay.
Disabilities. So they had singers singing the songs in the orchestra pit while the actors with disabilities performed on the stage. I was doing that. I was like one of 3 singers singing with the orchestra. And I looked up from the pit, and there was my boyfriend with another girl. Oh. And that's how I broke up with my first boyfriend. Climbed out the pit, walked up the aisle, screamed at him, "Fuck you!" Walked back down to the pit, sat down, did the whole show sobbing. Anyway, fade in, fade out. 4 years later, I go to Los Angeles. I get ER. And I have to see Tony Edwards on the show. I show up for my first day. I go into the makeup trailer, and I was like, "Hello." He's like, "Ah!"
Oh my God.
No, I I don't know how to, but he was so sweet. And he had told the cast about how I had very unceremoniously broken, or not, I didn't break up with him. I mean, whatever. I mean, I can't remember what it was, but I remember that story got told. I was like, oh yeah, I did too.
And so you guys did fine when you were both working on the show?
Oh, he's about as charming and as kind, and he's a tremendous guy, which like I said, I have excellent taste.
Yeah.
And, he's a tremendous guy. And well, I have the utmost respect for the dude. I've always had trouble, it's a sad thing. I was thinking about writing a book called Whoever Loves the Most Wins. It sucks when you like someone more than they like you, or you got.
I was going to say, do you win if you love the most? I think the one who doesn't love the most wins. I don't know.
I think whoever loves the most wins. Why? Because when you're in love, you win. Love is good. You get to experience the love. I don't like to withhold. In fact, when I got together with my husband Dave, I remember he was like, why do you got to tell me you love me all the time? And I remember pulling over on the freeway and saying, listen, I did not get sober to fucking withhold my shit. If I feel good about you, you take it. And if you don't want to take it, then you ain't the guy for me, because I do not want to withhold. It makes me sick. I don't want to do that. If I feel love for you, I want to just freaking smear it all over you. I just want it all over. I love love. I love it. And so he was like, okay, Jesus, my child, Jesus. All right. But now, it's like, I love that about us, I don't even do it very much now because we're all old. Anyway, but I love that. And I learned about that, I remember my first husband, in his wisdom, he said, hey, I'm not against you. I'm on the same team as you. Remember that. And I love that. And I feel that way about Dave, that lesson, I believe 100% that I learned from my first husband. I've carried that with me. And I think it is the reason my marriage is successful. I feel like Dave and I are on the same team.
It's one. Well, it looks that it certainly appears that way. That's definitely the feeling I got. Okay, so I have one more person to ask you about. So, how about Patrick Swayze? What was that? What was he like?
Well, Roadhouse was my sex, drugs, and rock and roll movie. Mm-hmm. It was. My memory of it is spectacular. If you come down to Los Angeles and you want to know about hookers, drugs, rock and roll, being in that movie, a Joel Silver movie in 1985, I don't know, with Patrick Swayze at the height of his career, with Sam Elliott at the height of his career. I mean, it was phenomenal. And I couldn't wait to get to that set every single day. They had beer. I was drinking. They had beer in the bar scene, flowing, just woo! And there were hookers on the set. I remember being back in the makeup trailer, and this girl who was completely broken hooker, boobs out to here, huge blonde hair. We teased up our hair, remember? And she's taking her makeup out of her purse. She puts down her compact, her lipstick. She puts down her eyeshadow. She puts down her gun. She puts down... I was like, is that a gun? Like, yes, you never know. Just because you need a gun, you never know. Have to be safe. Broken. She's broken, this girl. How about that? But I was like, I am not in Santa Barbara anymore. This fucking rocks. She has a gun, this chick.
Wow.
So what was Patrick like? He was dedicated. He didn't partake in, or I didn't know about it, but he loved his wife. He loved acting. He's marvelous. I don't know. I could not. I'm so grateful I got to work with that guy, and I was brokenhearted that he passed away so young. That sucks. He was just dedicated and a real artist, and never apologized for being a ballet dancer. Just, he'd wait for the scene to start and do a double pirouette, stuff like that. And then they'd be like, action! It was so spectacular.
Oh, that's
marvelous. Yeah.
Okay, how about in my, Samantha was addicted to Gilmore Girls, and she's tried to get me to sit down and watch it with her. And we have to watch it as a mother and daughter. And I have to admit, I haven't watched Gilmore Girls. But how was that experience for you? And did Ruby relate to? Was that like a mother-daughter thing for you?
No.
No.
They are the most disenchanted, unenchanted. I don't know. They are not impressed by my acting career at all. If they are, I know nothing about it. That job was great for me because they had Amy Palladino just cast me. I didn't audition for it. And they, I remember my agent telling me, that's my dog, so obnoxious, just scratch the door. My agent told me about, you got an offer to do this job, and they paid me well, and it was a joy. It's like doing this. I can't believe this. Hold on.
Okay. You guys, if you have questions, I don't know if I'm going to go all the way back through the thread, but if you have questions, throw them down there now at the bottom of the thread, and I'll try to look over here with Kathleen. Yeah. So Gilmore Girls. So tell me.
It was just a joy, but it's a real discipline because I'm texting my husband because I need him to bring my power cord.
Uh-oh.
So I'm afraid I'm going to run out of power.
Uh-oh, Dave.
I know. Bring my power cord.
Will he check his texts while he's working? I hope so.
Upstairs. Please. Okay. So it was such a blast. But the first day I did it, I had a scene that was 8 pages long, and it's imperative that you know the scenes word for word. If you say instead of they will cut the scene and say back to 1, and you have to start the scene. You have to do that shit word perfect. I didn't have that discipline. I was sort of like from ER, you just get your script and you're like, in the makeup trailer, my part. Got it. You can't do that on the Gilmore Girls. You got to work those lines like crazy. So my first day on the job, 8 pages, and halfway through, I'm from the Jimmy Stewart acting universe. Halfway through, I was like, oh my God. I think I said maybe I should do this. And they were like, cut! There's no maybe in the script. Okay. Anyway, I was so tense. So from then on, I just memorized the hell out of it to the best of my ability and just tried. And you have to speak really fast because that's the nature of the thing. They do 75-page scripts in, 59 minutes. So you got to really talk like this. You got to do it the whole way time. And then blah, 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 blah. Speech. And it's like doing a period piece, to be honest. And I think that Amy's brilliant, and she really tapped in on something gorgeous, and I was really grateful to be in it. I loved working with Michael Deluise and David Deluise. Michael was my husband, and he was so sweet. He's salt of the earth. Tell me funny stories about growing up with Dom Deluise, and I don't know. I just really was very I felt very blessed to be there. And I met Carole King. I have a good Carole King story.
Let's hear. I have a Carole King story. I want to hear yours.
Carole King was on a golf cart at the studio at Burbank Studios with Sebastian Bach, the rock star.
Yeah.
I'm walking to my trailer. Sebastian says, Kathleen, come here. Sebastian. I'm like, shit, Sebastian Bach.
Did you know him?
I run up to the golf cart. And he goes, "You're not Kathleen." I said, "Yeah, I'm Kathleen." And Carole King was like, "Hi, I'm Carole King." I was like, "I'm just beyond huge fan. And you're Sebastian Bach. And, it's so great to meet you." He was like, "No, I want the PA. Isn't she named Kathleen? You're not the PA."
Nice.
That's my Carole King story. But I got to say how much I love her so much.
Do you have, was there a favorite? I mean, you've done such great work. Does anything stand out as like the thing, like that's the thing?
No, I haven't done anything that, I'm also very picky, but that's why I don't like to watch my own shit. I feel like I've never done anything that I haven't gotten that shot yet, My stories and my plays, I feel like, are really meaningful to me, but I have no wins there either. So I'm still a work in progress. Maybe because I don't feel like I've mastered anything, jack of all trades. Maybe that is still what is the fire under my ass to keep moving forward, regardless of what the outcome is. But I have never felt satisfied. Like, oh yay! Maybe I did a play called Battery, and I was good in that.
You've been good in everything, so you can.
I try hard, but I don't think I've been satisfied with anything.
So the plays that you're writing, are they vehicles for you? I assume.
No. I always read all the parts, as I write them.
Right.
I'm nervous. I now have 4% power, so I almost feel like I need to walk downstairs.
Okay, go ahead. Well, I'll go through the questions while you.
Go through the questions. Go ahead.
I'll go through the questions and I'll see what we need to ask you while you're going.
You can walk. Are you pausing? Or no, we're live.
No, we're live.
Okay, so you can ask me. I'll answer.
So somebody asked, do you have a favorite on-screen kiss? Did you do a lot of on-screen kissing?
I played a part of a woman who married a guy. Dave, I need power.
Dave, we need power.
Sorry.
Never stand in the way of a woman's power.
Hi, Dave.
Dave, Vicki says hi.
Hi, Dave. Oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. Look at you with the beard. Oh my God, who are you? Wow, that's your COVID look.
All right, I'm so relieved I've got this plugged in.
Okay, good.
Phew. Okay. So,
yeah.
All right. So, okay. So the on-screen kiss. I played a woman who was on death row, who fell in love with the guy she married who was on death row, and I had to marry him. It was an Ally McBeal, and I had to kiss him. It's the only time I would ever get to kiss him, right? Because he's on death row. Anyway, so in order to be good, I had to just completely kiss him. I think that we did maybe 25 takes of that. So I came home with like beard burn, like we're walking through the door and Dave's like, "Hi, baby," and he's gonna kiss me. I'm like, no. So I do remember that, but mostly look, I don't play those girls that get to kiss the guy.
Yeah, that's hysterical. All right, and then somebody asked, when you were new to film at 22, what was it like working with Charles Bronson?
Spectacular. That guy treated me like gold.
Oh.
He had a soft spot for me. They were scared of he might not like me. Like he apparently was tricky with some of his co-stars.
Really?
Yeah. He just doesn't, I don't know. He was just very good to me. I learned a lot before every, when he thinks people are screwing around, he'll go like this. Let's shoot. And he always prioritized his family and went home to Jill Ireland, who was a cancer survivor at the time, and also producing the movie. And it was great. I had a ball doing that, and I loved working with him. I got nothing negative to say about that guy. He was.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm glancing down. I don't know. I'm zipping through. Please tell Kathleen I have been going through hell for 3 months and I haven't laughed until tonight. Smiling and laughing. I could listen to her talk about cleaning out the refrigerator or the flower beds. Fabulous storyteller. That's Cheryl Ann. Oh, Cheryl, I'm so glad. Cindy wants to know if you ever did a soap. Did you ever do a soap opera?
Never.
No.
I just never have. Never, not once, ever, never. But I have on a podcast that I did, we had a soap opera actress on, and I watched her work and thought she was tremendous. My podcast partner is a big soap opera fan, and it sort of gave me tremendous respect for it. But no, I have never done that.
And so I'm this is going to be like my last question, and then we're going to hear you sing my favorite song. So if you could, you're teaching now, and I assume you're loving teaching. I assume you found a passion for it. Yes?
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Okay, so if you could construct your future, what is it, if your perfect utopian future of what looks right now in this moment, what would make you the happiest? What does it look like?
To get my play mounted or my book published, I like writing. It's a solitary thing. I get to be the star, the director, the lighting guy, the costumer. I get to do it all when I'm writing my stories, and I love it. And I work hard at it. And the thing I don't do is put myself out there as a writer, and that's a shame because I just feel extremely passionate about it. It's what I spend all my time doing. I love teaching too. I guess I would love to have a huge class because I think my message doesn't get put out there as much as it should, which is acting is a blast. Don't forget about how much fun it is. It's so fun.
Did you ever do a sitcom? Cindy's asking that.
Oh, yeah. I did the Jeffersons.
Okay, Cindy wrote on the Jeffersons, and I'm having Jay Moriarty on the show next week. But Cindy wrote on all the Barry shows.
I did the last season of the Jeffersons. I did what's it called? I sang on a show with George Clooney, actually.
Oh, wow.
And Jonathan Prince, and I can't remember.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's great.
Jonathan.
What was the show? It's called, it's about a record company. Yeah, so I sang on that. I was on Mad About You.
Oh, yeah.
Because she threw me she was very generous for me with that. I was on, my friend Carrie Leiser is a sitcom producer, writer, showrunner, and she had me on Will and Grace after my mother died just to help me out. It's very sweet. She has me in her shows. She had me do an episode of, she had me sing all the interstitial music for The New Adventures of Old Christine.
I remember that. Oh, my stylist was on that show.
Which one?
Do you know Craig Ames? He's my stylist, really good friend of mine. He was
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. So he worked on that show all those years, and I remember that you did the singing. Yes, I remember that. Quite wonderful.
Yeah. So
is that something you still want to do, like place music in film and TV?
I don't know. With the music thing, I just, where I used to write songs every single solitary day. Now I wrote a song because I picked up the guitar for the first time in months to practice for your show. And then I just thought, wouldn't it be funny to do? I wonder if people thought about this as a hook. I'm glad to be quarantined with you or whatever. Quarantined with you, or I don't know. So the music is really not something I'm like, I don't know. I'm 50. I'll be 56 June 29th. So I don't know.
Baby.
It's just not the same. Like,
And
I like to write stories and I like to write plays. Those are my two things, and I really get a kick out of hearing my plays read out loud. I get very.
So what will it take for you to get yourself out there as a writer? I mean, I want to see you get out there as a writer. What will it take for you to do that for yourself, do you think?
I think I have to be like you and just be brave and freaking push yourself away from the computer, put yourself out there. And then I just don't do that. And I need to, that's where I really spiritually, like, that is really where I am failing, like I could tell other people, you got to put yourself out there, but I don't do it. I've gotten rejected. I feel like I've sent stuff out before it was ready. I sent my first novel out to my friend who's a published novelist. She and I read like hundreds of pages of each other's work. And he's like, oh my God, Kathleen, you're the best writer. You're so great. And then I sent her what I was working on, and I hadn't really refined it. And I don't think she liked it. And so I had like tremendous shame about it. It's kind of a little bit of a like, ugh, because she sent it without having read it to her publisher, and the publisher was like, yuck. And so I just still feel the sting of that and feel like I blew it.
Do you know Brene Brown? She has a TED Talk about shame, and you need to get over it.
Brown? Did you say Brene Brown? I love her.
You need to watch her a few times and let go of all this shame that you've got going on, because you've got so much talent, and you just need to get behind yourself the way you get behind the people in your life, and do that for yourself and get your writing out there. I don't know what fire you've got to light under your, because it's really, I mean, look at J.K. Rowling. Look at how many times did that woman get rejected before she got something published? Like,
I know.
Hundreds of times. It's like, that's what it takes sometimes. And somebody said, by the way, that you made their day. She said, I just came home from a funeral. Thank you. Her name was Vi, and she was my son's nanny when I first came to Nashville. My son is 9. He's now 35. Her brother gave me a publishing deal in 1994 as a songwriter. She was Tammy Wynette's sister-in-law. Oh, anyway, you've made her feel better. And that's a wonderful thing. So now that we've made everybody feel better, now we're going to rip everybody's heart out, because this song of yours absolutely rips my kishkas out of my, wow. Yeah. And I will never forget you singing it. And you sang it in the living room, and John Calso played Cajon for you. Remember?
Oh yeah. That was such a gift. Thank you so much.
That was so fun.
You guys want to say hi?
Hi. Where's Ruby? Where's Jimmy? I haven't seen Ruby and Jimmy since they were little. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hi, Ruby.
You love that I was on Gilmore Girls, Ruby?
It's a funny Snapchat from my friends.
She's not very impressed with my career.
Very impressed. She's wonderful.
Hysterical. She looks a lot like Dave. That little view that she got.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. So hi, Dave. This is another Dave. So Kathleen, before you sing the song, I just want to thank you so much. You know, Kathleen's always said to me over the years, use me when you need somebody at the last minute, and I will always show up for you. And you always have, but I did not do that. When I booked you, it's always been because I've wanted you, not because I needed somebody to fill in at the last minute. I think you might have done that for me once, but it's always such a thrill for me, and I'm such a fan of you as an artist, as a musician, as an actress, as a human being, and I'm so happy that you're my friend, and thank you so much for doing this. It's been wonderful as always.
You're the sweetest. All right, here we go.
All right. I'm going to make it just you somehow. How do I do that? There I go.
I see old lyrics on my piano about good days gone by. You ask what's wrong, I say, baby, I don't know. But that's a bald-faced lie. You got one foot out that door. got one foot. All right, I'm gonna have to take two.
Go ahead.
Out that door, fall asleep before I get home. You're gone before I arrive. If I chance by you, I'll ask you how your day went. You'll always say just fine. Well, you got one foot out that door. You got one foot out that door. How do we get back to where we were before? You were my best friend. When you're home, you act like you're not welcome anymore. You're free to come back in. I never saw myself as holding you back. We always had like minds. Do the right thing, guy. Your straitjacket's torn. Let me undo those binds. There you got one foot out that door. You got one foot out that door. How do we get back to where we were before? You were my best friend. You're home, you act like you're not welcome anymore. Baby, come back in. I no longer need the limelight. Don't want your money anymore. Rather have you in my arms tonight than watch you hanging your foot at the door. You got one foot out that door. You got one foot out that door.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
So many. Oh,
That song just rips my. If that song isn't screaming to be in a movie, I don't know. That song really has to go in a movie. I mean, that is just. Oh my God! Look, you're getting all this love on the thing.
I feel guilty that I messed up. I messed up
Oh no!
my bridge. It's supposed to be like I no longer need the spotlight. Don't want your money anymore. Rather have you in my arms tonight than watch you hanging your foot out the door. That's how it should have gone.
Oh God! Once again, just that little bit. Oh my God! Have you tried to get that? To place that song?
You know me. I just keep pounding the pavement with all of my material. You know what I do? There you go.
That song has to get placed. That song has to get placed. With you singing it, it has to get placed. It's crazy.
I made an album. My friend, he owns a studio, and he let me record there, and I recorded like 10 songs. I recorded a whole album in a weekend, and
wow.
I never mixed it. You know how I do. And then I sent some of the little pre-mixes to my friend in Nashville, who's like, he's a huge producer. Huge.
Okay.
And he sent me a text back, and he said that he has something broken in his ear and he can't listen to any music. And I was like, your ear's broken. You know, which is the truth is he doesn't want to obviously listen to music from his old friends or whatever.
I actually just got an idea.
Broken ear.
I know somebody that's working on something, and if it gets picked up, I think it might be perfect for that. I'm gonna instigate a little bit. I'm gonna see what I can instigate on that.
Well, you're free to. You're so good at that stuff. My freaking selling yourself thing is we all have our weak strengths and weaknesses. High on productivity, low on selling myself. I would be the worst agent in the world. I'd be like, probably with my client, he's pretty good. Not very good. You probably don't want to use him. You know, my friend Kathy Najimy. Do you know Kathy Najimy?
Yeah, well, I know. I met her at one of your things, but no, I don't know Kathy.
She is like the best person in the whole wide world. She's a great person, but she always teases me about how, like, when I invite her to things, like, you wouldn't want to come to my house, but if you did want to come, please come. You know, she always gets like, oh my God.
I've gotten to be really good friends with Mo, and I'm trying to remember if I met Mo through. I wonder if I met Mo. I must have met Mo from you. I'm thinking I must have, but so I know the other half of that little.
Yeah, she's a marvelous person. You know, she moved back to San Diego.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then she got a bunch of jobs, so it's certainly not stopping her acting career, which is great because she's fantastic.
That reminds me that I haven't been in touch with her in too long. Okay, that's a good reason to get in touch with her. I adore Mo. She's amazing.
Amazing. So funny. I love Mo. I call her Mo Regard.
Mo.
The great Mo Regard.
Mo came up to when Mike Nesmith did Women Who Write up at the Henry Miller Library in Big Sur. Mo came up, and Jack came up too. Jack was like,
her kid. He's super talented.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for doing this. It was so fun to hang out with you and to see you again and to hear you and
get fun. That I wasn't. I wish I was more slick at the end with my song. You
were fantastic. It was perfect. It was perfect. It couldn't have been better. It was.
You haven't had people mess up their songs?
All the time. This is what we're alive without everybody messes. Come on. Like every week I say something completely inane. It's part of the deal. I screw something up every single week. It's every day when I go live. It's part of the deal. Who cares? We're human. We're just people doing this thing.
True.
Well, I wish you safety, all of you, and perfect health, and
you too.
And getting through this whole thing. And I hope that if there's one thing that happens is that you put your work in somebody else's hands soon. That's my wish for you, because you don't need any other wish beyond that. It's just to let go of it.
Not easy. We all have that's tricky for me. Yeah, I need to do that for sure. Anyway, Vicki, your support means the world, and I appreciate you having me on your show, and I think you're delightful. You're just a wonderful person. I'm really grateful that you are putting yourself out there the way you do so beautifully. I'm really, really honored to be on your show, and you can use me as a pinch hitter anytime.
I love it. I was going to say, I also just had a flash. I remember you used to come to Women Who Write and just sit in the house and be one of us.
Great.
Girl, yeah. You used
Super inspiring. And it was such a great, to have people at your house during school hours. I have 2% power. So if I click off, we made it. We did our time.
Okay, good.
Right? I just don't want to mess it up for you. But thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you. See you soon, I hope. Bye.
How do we sign off?